best of highlighting shows on Friday seems to be working. You guys seem to love it. So today, this is why I'm choosing this episode today. There's all this talk, of course, about the horrible season of RHONY, according to all of you. None of you seem to have liked it based on the DMs that I get. And, nostalgia is at its best. So everyone, is asking, who have I interviewed from the RHONY past and the good old days from RHONY when RHONY was RHONY. So I want to highlight this chat with Miss Kristen Taekman. And I really want to hear from everyone, leave in the comments on IG. What do you think? Is Kristen part of the good old days of RHONY, or is this like, nah, next? So curious to hear all of your thoughts. But this chat with Kristen, I loved it. We talk about not just the show and some highlights or lows for her, like having a drink thrown at her and smash, where she got the glass in the face by Ramona in the lake. We talk about her children also went to school with Bryn Hoppy. So running into Bethenny during pickups and drop-offs at school, we talk about that. Also, let's not forget Kristen's really BFFs in real life with Miss Brandi Glanville. Have we ever had a New York Beverly Hills crossover other than the time that Brandi and Yolanda came to visit and they all went out with Kristen? So she talks about being BFFs with Brandi. In real life, we also talk about she also was at the same party I was at in the Hamptons when Ramona pushed Giselle out of the picture, that famed beef between Ramona and Giselle, which I've talked about this. Kristen was hosting that party. I was there. So we talk about all of that. And we just talk about RHONY past. So this is one of our best ofs from maybe a few months ago, like last year. But I really want to, hear what you think about Kristen. I love Kristen. We'll get her back on the show. We also talk about Luann's cabaret. It's just, I don't know. Thought it was a good day to reminisce about RHONY. Let me know what you think about this one. And do you want me to have Kristen back for a catch up to this episode? Hope you guys enjoy. Hey guys, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. We are joined today by, some say former, I say always. I think once you're on a show, it's always. So I disagree with the Instagram moniker, but forever Real Housewife of New York, Miss Kristen Taekman. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It's so good to see you.
I know, it's so good to see you too. It's like this new normal of like seeing each other through the computer.
I can't remember when I last saw you, but how have you been? So where are you now? You were just telling me you are not at home.
No, so I am at my parents' house in Connecticut with my whole family, and everyone we're homeschooling. We're like, if you could only get a snapshot of what's happening in this house right now. I've got 2 kids on Zoom calls. I'm at Zoom meetings for school. I'm on a Zoom with you. My husband's outside doing like some crazy workout on the deck. And then my mom is actually doing sun salutations on a Zoom yoga class in the living room. It's like mayhem.
That's like, so you went from the Hamptons right to Connecticut because you were in the Hamptons, right?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to have these amazing friends that weren't using their house. So we stayed in their place for almost 2.5 months.
Wow.
Out in Southampton, which was so nice. It was just so great to be out of the city for the kids, And then, like the weather started getting great, and then we were quarantined just long enough so that I could be with my family. So it's so nice to go from like that hardcore quarantining to like being with my parents, and mom's cooking and everybody's around. And, what it's like, you're whoever you're with, even if you're with yourself or you're with one other person or just a family of 4, it's like so nice to get that fresh, meat around.
I was going to say, no, I don't know how it's been because I've been alone, but I kind of mixed it up. Like Connecticut's open. So I have like a friend with a house in Greenwich. So I've been in Greenwich like a little bit.
Oh, that's nice.
Like Connecticut's pretty open. It's like phase 2 now.
I think so. Yeah. I've been to it's like 3 different restaurants outside. And can I tell you, oh my goodness, it's like, the first time you go to that restaurant, you sit outside, you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Tell me about it. The first day was like unbelievable. You're like, oh my God, this is like normal again.
Oh my gosh, 100%. So you're in New York, and what is this phasing is just starting there, or?
It hasn't started yet, but like, it's weird. I don't know how, but like certain coffee shops are open. You know, like
Yeah.
little things are open, like little delis are open. The pizza place across, like this morning when I was walking, I had a choice of where to get my coffee. I'm like, this is weird.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that was exciting. So like to your point, like the first time it happens, you're like, oh, this is like, you know, it's a little semblance of normal.
Right, right. No, for sure.
But you guys get to stay in Connecticut for like kind of the remainder?
Well, no, I mean, we're going to need a whole nother hour for this conversation, but we had a whole trip planned to Rome and then Venice for like 10 days. And then we rented a place in Croatia for 2 weeks with my in-laws and my cousins and other cousins and all of that. So that obviously is a no-go. So we usually go out to California for a good solid month in August because we used to live out there and all that stuff. So we are going now. We're going to go in like the next week or so and spend 3 months out there instead, but we're driving.
Wow.
So we're doing a road trip and I've just mapped the whole thing out. I have my hotels. We're going to do glamping along the way.
Wow.
I'm considering myself a pro at this point in the glamping. And yes, then it's going to be like 14 days. You name the monument, I want to go to it and I'm going to get a picture.
I was going to say, yeah, I know. That's not bad. I was going to say, like, are you flying? Because, I mean, people are flying. I just don't know if I'm ready to do that yet.
I know. I'm not. Honestly, I just feel like I've, taken so much care with, like, quarantining and then self-isolating. I just cannot put it's more of the kids.
I'm in such a good mood because I just got my new rain jacket, t-shirts, and sweaters in the mail from Tentry. Not only are these products fashion forward, but they're earth friendly. Tentry sells lots of different products, including clothing, underwear, outerwear, activewear, and more. What I love is that not only are these fashion forward, like I said, but everything they make is manufactured ethically and from materials that are either sustainably sourced or recycled. Besides being sustainable, Tentry clothing is so soft and so comfortable. I'm already wearing these t-shirts like all day and all night. Listen, for every item purchased from Tentry, they plant 10 trees, and this helps take carbon out of the air, replenish ecosystems, and it gives jobs to tree planters and communities around the world. To learn more about Tentry's planting mission and to grab some comfy, sustainable clothes, check out their website, www.tentry.com. And because you're listening to this podcast, use code VELVET to get 15% off your first order. That's www.tentree.com. Use code VELVET to get 15% off your first order.
I just don't really want to put the kids on a plane right now. So listen, if I had to fly, I would be fine to wear, I have my N95. I would definitely be careful. You can't expect the kids to wear a mask for 5 hours on a flight, No,
you can't. And like, I don't know, I have a friend because he was in Miami for like the first half of this and then flew home. And he said like the flight was like full, like the middle seat was taken. He's like, every seat was packed.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
No, I think so too. I mean, it's hit or miss. It's either going to be completely empty, but I feel like the routes you're going, if you're going New York, Miami, New York, LA, New York, Chicago, those are busy flights. Like if you're going to go somewhere, smaller, then it'll probably be less crowded, but who knows? I mean,
totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of your kids, they're modeling now. I saw on your Instagram like a few weeks ago, months ago, whatever it was, maybe months, that they were doing some modeling.
Yeah, so they've been modeling for like a year now. I have this agent that I signed them up with, and it was just like, because I'm doing it anyway, and there was definitely jobs where they want a family or they want kids, or I'm on a job and I'm shooting with kids, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think my kids could do this. So Cash, my son, he shot last November the Zara Spring Kids campaign, and it came out in like April, I think, and then Kingsley ironically shot another little campaign for Zara, but it was in studio in the city, and that's not out yet. I think all the brands are a little bit behind. Like they probably wanted to launch these things already, but they're holding off. No, but it was so exciting. Like as a mom, I can't even tell. This is a funny story for you. Oh my God. Yeah. So funny. So I'm at the casting for Zara in Brooklyn. It's this like great studio in Brooklyn. I take Cash after school and I'm like, hello, I've been doing these castings auditions like my whole adult life. So I like hunker down, like I'm on my Instagram, like whatever. Cash is like playing a game, and we sign him in at literally we were number 325. So that just goes to show you how many kids were there. All of a sudden, I'm like looking down at my phone. I see this like super fab woman walk by me to the right, and she sits in front of me, but it's like stadium seating. So she's, I'm looking at her back. She's got this cute little dog, this cute little girl. And I'm looking at her shoes thinking, oh, she's fabulous. Like, don't think anything of it. And she turns around in slow motion. It was like, ah, she asks me, hey, have you been waiting a long time? It was Molly Ringwald.
No.
Yes. I was like, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, you could be fans of people, but it's Molly Ringwald. Like, hello. Like, she's like legit, real childhood insane, right?
Listen, Molly Ringwald and Ali Sheedy, so she was bringing her child to model.
Yes. So her daughter's modeling. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
I know.
Does her have red hair?
No, like dark hair, but so cute. Really, like Cash's age. So she's probably like 11, 12. But it was just one of those New York moments where we're just like, interesting how it all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Seriously. I thought you were going to say it was one of the housewives. I'm like, are you going to say it was Bethenny with Brand, or like, what's going on here?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, that I wouldn't have been like starstruck. Like, this was like, oh my God, you know. But it was like, so anyway, they picked 8 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls, and Cash got picked. Like, I was so excited for him.
That's hard.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a future in that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know what, it's just good for the kids to like be on set, you know, interact with other kids, interact with adults, take direction. That's all I'm taking it for. Like, if we can build a little bit of like a college fund or something, great. But you know what, it's like, it's all I've ever done. It's the world I really know really well. So for me, it's no brainer to bring my kids to those things. You know, I'm doing it anyway, so.
Seriously. Yeah. And how's your fashion blog going? You're like doing a lot, right?
It's what? Sorry.
You're like doing a lot with it, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I work with Sasha, and so we've been like, you know, distance doing our stuff because she's in Texas, I've been in Connecticut. So, you know, it's been great because in the early days, it was all about like cozy jammy sets, and like, you know, I'm all about like affordable fashion. So I really feel like it was great to just like be in quarantine and just be posting about what you're actually wearing and how comfortable it is. And it was all about Amazon because that was like our jam, right? Because they were still delivering.
Seriously.
Yeah. So it was good. No, it's been fun. Yeah.
That sounds, yeah. And your Instagram is very, like, it's very perfectly curated. And I say that like positively. Like my Instagram is a mess. One day I look great in a picture, the next day I just throw it up there, the angles off. Yours is just very, I don't know, it's
I appreciate that, thanks. I pepper in like the, you know, the modeling stuff with like the outfit of the day stuff. Then it's just like, you know, you have this like great moment from your day and it's organic. And you know, I know so many people, like I've been on events and stuff, and I'll like take a picture and then 20 minutes later it's up on my feed, and the people are like, wow, how did you do that so quickly? Or the same people at the same event post 5 days later because they retouch and do all this stuff. I'm like, listen, we all have our stuff going on. Like, I don't even bother to retouch it anymore. Like, I'm like, whatever.
I never did it. I'm just like, this is what it is. I have friends that are like, they do it and they're like, you can't post that picture unless it's, I'm like, I have no time for that. Like,
no, for sure. Not only that, but then people meet you in person and they're scared to death because you look nothing like your picture.
That's what I say. Like, I personally think I look much better in real life than I do in pictures. That's just me. So I would rather that than the opposite. I totally agree. I don't get it. Like, then you meet people and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
So I made fun of the fact that you said former RHONY. I say once an RHONY, always an RHONY.
I love that.
So, I mean, did you watch the show? Like, did you watch Bravo before you were cast on it? Like,
I did. So I don't know if you remember, but the season before I was cast, they had that crazy hiatus. Do you remember? They literally had like this like crazy year off. So like, I remember watching it with friends and like, you know, like watched it like we all do, not a big deal. And then, you know, they took a whole year off. So I remember getting cast and, you know, not remembering everybody's storyline completely. It's like, okay, like I remember like with Aviva, like she had, like, I forgot, you know, I hate to say it, but I didn't remember that like she had, you know, her whole situation.
An artificial leg.
Yes. So I remember thinking like, I don't remember any of that. So like when the girls were talking about it, I was like, geez, am I supposed to pretend like I know what's going on? And I remember asking questions. So anyway, it was like they had that whole year off. And then I kind of came in. So it was like on one side, it was refreshing because they had all had so much time off. It was sort of new for them too. But at the same time, I felt like I was so far removed from what had happened that last season. So yeah, I don't know. But it's funny. So then when I went off the show, I definitely took a solid 2 seasons off for sure.
You know, it's never too early to start gift shopping for the holidays. And today you can save big on a gift you'll use every day. Raycon wireless earbuds. These are literally my go-to earbuds for everything. Working out, walking, working from home. With seamless Bluetooth pairing and a comfortable noise isolating fit, you can start listening right away and keep listening for hours. I love that Raycon offers 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. I have to tell you guys, I'm really picky with audio quality, and the audio quality is amazing, especially compared to what you get from other premium brands, except Raycon starts at half the price. The new everyday AirPods come with 3 sound profiles to make sure everything you're listening to sounds its best. There's also a built-in mic, and you can take calls on your earbuds at the press of a button. You guys can go to buyraycon.com/velvet today to unlock exclusive deals up to 20% off your Raycon order. But hurry, this offer is available for a limited time only, and you don't want to miss it. That's buyraycon.com/velvet to unlock up to 20% off your Raycon. Buyraycon.com/velvet.
Like, I feel like I caught glimpses of it, but it was like, it's almost like because the storylines still kind of carry over and you're not in it anymore, but you're still kind of in it. So I was like, I needed a minute, you know?
Were you upset when you were no longer on it, or?
No. You know, I think there's career housewives, and then there's like, I don't know if you want to call them pinch hitters or like whatever they are. And I feel like I did the 2 seasons. I feel like 3 seasons is like a solid. 1 season is like, a bump in the road. 2 seasons is like just enough where you're like, you don't go insane, but it's like enough where you can kind of like, you're in it, But, I was never going to be a career housewife. I was never really that good at it, And I also think like, I don't want to step on anybody's feet, but I don't know, like a lot of the OGs, like it's just such a part of their life. And I knew it was never going to be that. Like I have young kids. I'm happily married still, like all those ladies, it just like takes over their world. And that was never really going to be me.
Do you think like the OGs or the people that are like career housewives? Because I totally agree. There's two things here. Like, do you think the ladies who are career housewives, they kind of learn, it is reality. I'm not saying it's not reality, but like, do you think they kind of just learn and almost like, to me, they almost become like caricatures of themselves?
Yeah.
You agree?
No, I do. I agree. And it's like, obviously it's all very real. And it just like, I think the crazy thing is that the crazy thing with them is that it is their reality and they live and breathe it even on the off season, where someone like me, where, I wasn't on it for that long. So it's like you had these off seasons or even like nights off where you were like living your regular life. I mean, whereas like those women really live and breathe and sleep and eat and drink, like that's their whole world. To the point where if they weren't doing it anymore, do you ever think like, what would they do if they didn't have the show anymore? Like literally, what would they do?
Well, you look at like a Vicky or a Tamra from OC. I mean, they're finding, I don't know. I mean, Vicky has Kodo insurance, so she has a business, but that is that's the rare exception where someone has a real.
You know what though I think is interesting? I think New York is different like that because Tamra's got, she's got her beautiful husband. She's happily married. She has her fitness business. I don't know. It's interesting. Like a lot of the New York girls, you just think, unless you're Bethenny or now Luann with the cabaret, which I was so happy to see this last episode where she sat down with her. What is the guy, the director or whatever? Yeah. It was like kind of cool that it's going to keep going and,
I mean, that's what I said. Like Luann has, I mean, I'm not saying she's not talented at all, but she has done well for herself. She has a whole career now.
She is so talented. It's insane. Like, obviously she can sing, she's funny, just to get up on that stage. Like, I know how hard that is to keep that audience and to do a show night after night. I mean, I was so upset last season when the girls kept bagging on her for like the cabaret. I'm like, you get up there and do that,
And it's not at 54 Below. Like this is a tour now in big venues.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's crazy, but she's killing it. It's amazing.
So she has a career, but right, to your point, like, I guess, Ramona, Dorinda, Sonia, I don't know what they would do either.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody finds their way, but you know what I mean?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Know.
Yeah.
Who did you know before you were cast? Like, did you know anyone that you were on the cast with? Like Aviva, Carol, like all those?
Heather.
So Heather was for me.
Josh and Heather worked together at Bad Boy back in the day. Yeah. So we would always like have dinners with them and, you know, and then I remember having a dinner with them when she was in talks to get on the show. And I remember it clear as day, like the dinner, she's like, yeah, it's crazy. The Real Housewives, like, you know, I'm, you know, they're interviewing me and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And that was like, you know, 2+ years before I was even considered. So it's funny how that happens, you know?
And you never knew like Ramona, Sonia, like none of them.
No. I mean, it was more like obviously Brandi I knew.
How is Brandi doing these days?
She's good. I'm excited because I'll see her out in LA. So we're going to be out there for a couple months. And we used to do she's such I mean, I don't know if I told you this before, but Brandi's a really good cook, like a very, very good cook.
Really?
Oh, really good. So she always did these like, you know, taco nights or like, it's really cute. Like I remember when I used to live there with her, she'd always do like a Sunday taco night and it was kind of like an open house. So I was like, okay, Brandi, we're getting this going again. You know, like when I'm out there this summer.
That's so funny. So you can hang out with her and she's coming up on Beverly Hills. I don't know how many more weeks, but she's coming up.
Let's meet up again and talk about that when that happens. Oh my God. We'll get through the other stuff in the house and then New York stuff. And then I want to talk about Beverly Hills because.
Okay. So you can come back on to talk about all of that.
I mean, like, you know, Brandi told me last time I saw her that there was some drama with her and Denise, but I kind of tuned it out. I was like, she told me little bits that I can't repeat. And I was like, I don't want to know.
So she kind of filled you in
a
on
little bit, but I kind of felt like, no, like, I don't what? And I kind of just like, let it go. Like, let's see how it plays out. And then I'm going to ask her questions afterwards.
We'll see how it plays out. And you need to ask her questions for me.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have no thoughts on, did this really happen?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't doubt. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I could say Brandi's very open sexually, so I don't know Denise, so I don't know. But I mean, I don't think anybody would be surprised.
In your opinion, I mean, Brandi's your friend. Like, she's not going to lie to you.
Yeah, totally. But who knows what happened? You know, I don't know. I mean, and then I also think like not for nothing, but they put out these teasers, right? And it's like, you feel like in the teaser, they're spinning it a certain way. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to watch the scene and we're all going to be like, really? Because I also felt like the last episode of Beverly Hills, they kept doing the teasers, right? Of like Denise and her husband at that table. And I felt like, oh my God, it's going to be so crazy. And then you actually watch the scene go down. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Making content is such an essential part of what I do to keep this show going, but it hasn't always been a seamless creative process. I'll be honest, my design skill level ain't so great, and my ability to learn new platforms is even worse. Ever since I found Canva Pro, I can design anything like a pro on any device. I feel like such an expert. Listen, it's a design platform that empowers you to create and share stunning content with just a few clicks. Designing with Canva Pro is so much fun and it's fast. You could choose from thousands of templates that are easy to customize, or you can just start from scratch. What I like the best about Canva Pro is everything is in one place and it helps me stay organized. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, video editor, it's all right there. For just $12.99 a month, you and 4 teammates can unlock everything Canva Pro has to offer. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use my promo code. Just go to canva.me/velvetrope to get free 45 days of an extended trial period. That's canva.me/velvetrope. And you get a free 45-day extended trial period. You're going to be designing things that are so amazing. You can thank me later.
You know?
What are you liking this season of Beverly Hills? Like, what do you think of this season?
I love the Beverly Hills ladies. I have to say, I also I think like Orange County might be my favorite, but that's because of like Vicky and the OGs. Like, I just feel like they got it down. They're all super successful in their own right, but it's not like Beverly Hills, like almost like unattainable, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you like, oh my God, you love their lifestyle because it's Southern California. They're fancy, but they're not living that Beverly Hills life, but it's, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And then, and they're all like family oriented still. And, you know, if they're divorced, they've remarried and they're in love, which is sweet. And Beverly Hills, I'm obsessed with because every single one of those women are successful in their own right without the show.
They are.
Which I love seeing. I think it's great.
Who's your favorite from Beverly Hills?
I feel like Kyle. I think she's like an amazing mom. I love her relationship. I love seeing obviously her home, and she's so successful, like acting again. She's had her stores. Like, you know, I love that series that she did about her life. What was that called? It was so bummed that it didn't get picked up again.
American Woman, I think.
Yeah, it was so great,
It
right?
was amazing. With Alicia Silverstone. I mean,
oh my God. It was such a great show.
It was a great show. It was, I thought it was really, what was it set like in the 70s, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was like 60s or 70s. It was a great show, it really was.
Oh my God, it was so good. And that was like, that's awesome. You know, she's so successful. It's crazy.
Well, maybe you could hang out with some of them when you're there.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think it's like with Kyle? I mean, do you think that she's getting like a bad edit? Like, do you think that's just like there's a shift now in the group, or do you think it's like these are the producers and this is how it works after a certain
do you know what I honestly think? And I feel like I've been so vocal lately, especially on Twitter, and I'm going to get myself in trouble because I've met Kyle before, but I don't know her, you know. I think as a viewer, not as a former housewife, I think as a viewer, you can tell she's getting a little bit of fatigue. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like she's the OG. And, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's her turn to get picked on or whatever, but I just feel like I would imagine, whereas like Ramona's really good at compartmentalizing it and keeping things like her energy high and everything. Kyle still has like, isn't her youngest daughter probably still at home, not even in high school yet?
Yeah.
So, you know, Kyle's got like, you know, she's running a full house. She's got, you know, her husband, she's got her businesses, she's got her 4 kids. And I think you could just tell that she's getting a little tired. Like she doesn't want to deal with the bullshit with the women. You know, she had that barbecue that I was so take away that it was her. It could have been any of the ladies. I was so confused by that barbecue where it was like, hey, I'm hosting this like family barbecue. And it's so fabulous, but my husband is off at a game and none of the others guys went. And then it was like a couple of token, like the new girl brought like a date, which was like weird.
Yeah.
And then and then Denise brings her guy, but it was very like lopsided. I don't know. It's weird.
That's true. Like where was Mauricio?
Yeah. And then like Teddy brought her husband, but like if I went to that and brought Josh, he'd be like annoyed that not all the husbands were there. Like I'm feeling like her husband's probably like, this is your thing. I don't want to do it today. You know? Do
you miss Lisa Vanderpump, or is the show just as good for you without her?
I think it's good for me without her. I think she probably was tired too. I mean, that woman works, right? Yeah, no, and I don't really watch any of Lisa's shows either. I mean, I love her. I think she's fabulous, but I could see where she was like done. But that whole thing was unsettling too, right? Like as a viewer, you kind of you needed some closure. Like it's never going to be closed.
I mean, it didn't bother me. A lot of people hated last season of Beverly Hills. They said it was too much. Hi. But a lot of people seem to, so, and you don't watch Vanderpump Rules.
No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like every now and again, it's like the only thing on and I'll catch it or whatever, but not, you know.
Who's your favorite on the cast of Real Housewives of New York at the moment? As far as, yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I always love Luann, obviously. And I do really love Dorinda. She's like kind of amazing. You know, I love them all. Even Tinsley is like, I don't know. I feel like she's embedded enough into it now where I don't know, like you're familiar with her now. So she feels, I'm like comfortable watching her, but I gotta tell you, Leah.
Leah, yeah.
Giving me life. Like
you love her.
Yes. Like she's got that like Carol kind of a downtown edge, but like she's everything we want, right? Cause she's beautiful. She's successful. She has a child, but she can hang with them because she's not married and doesn't have a boyfriend. So it's like that perfect kind of new addition, right?
And she's authentic. Like, she's just like, this is my apartment. This is where I live. I mean, that was kind of funny when Luann is just like, what type of apartment is this? You're like, Luann, this is what a lot of people in New York live in.
And mind you, you and I both know that apartment's probably freaking $10,000 a month. Hello?
Because it's, I think she lives near you in Financial.
Oh, does she? Oh, I
don't know
that.
about right near you, but she lives in the Financial.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so funny how, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely the girl's personality, you know, but like, I remember when Sonia came into my apartment that like my first season and she was thinking the same thing. And you're just like, okay, it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath in Tribeca. Like,
right, exactly. You're like, this is like a nice apartment in a nice building with a doorman, but that was
it's not a townhouse. I understand that, but yeah.
What do you think of Elise?
I love her. I feel like she's getting such a bad rap. She's been around forever. You've seen her around, right? Have you seen her out and stuff?
And I know her really well in real life.
Yeah. I loved in Newport. I love that she's, without stepping on anybody's feet, I feel like she's probably in the same age bracket as like Ramona and Sonia, right?
Yeah.
I think. But she comes off to me physically and fashion wise so much younger, but like tasteful. Like I loved how she had on that black, it always comes back to fashion for me. I love how she had on that black hoodie with like an oversized denim jacket with like cute jean on jean, and like the hairstyle is so fresh, you know, it's like long hair but like suits her. And I mean, she's had like just the right amount of work done where it's like Ramona's starting to look a little like, and like she's just like on point. And you know, people don't understand, they don't realize that first of all, a lot of stuff gets cut out, so I'm sure she's much more vocal than we see. And people are like, who is this girl? I mean, on Twitter, I mean, you see it. People are like, who is this girl? Why is she there? And people don't realize if you went back in footage over the last 10 years, she's always been there. She's been at all Ramona's events. She's been at all the group events. Like I remember meeting her years and years ago, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. I mean, no, she's to your point. Yeah. It's like in edit, like she's been in more scenes than that, I'm sure.
No, for sure. And she's genuinely a friend of these ladies. And, you know, maybe this year it is a bit divided between like the Tinsley and the Leah, and then like the older girls, which is kind of hard, you know?
Do you think that, because I mean, a lot of people are saying on Twitter and stuff like that, the show has gone too far in the sense of like, we've seen the drunk for forever. And okay, maybe Luann is maybe a little more so, and even Ramona, it's really, I guess, Sonia and Dorinda. I mean, and kind of Luann. Like, let's face it, New York is the drunk housewife show. I mean, compared to other franchises.
Yeah, yeah. Or the other women get drunk, but it's like chic. Like they're at a wine tasting in Tuscany and they're trash. Right. That's amazing. That's where you should be trash. You shouldn't be trash at a pumpkin patch upstate.
Right. And I mean,
Sonia throw up in the car ride home. Did you see that?
Yes.
Like, how does that happen? Like, come on, that's not cute.
It's 2021 and nobody has time for uncomfortable shoes. That's where Rothy's comes in. Rothy's surveyed thousands of customers, and the number one word used to describe their shoes, you guessed it, comfortable. Listen, now that fall is in the air, what better way to welcome the season than with new shoes like Rothy's best-selling flats, loafers, and sneakers. I picked myself up a pair of Rothy's driving loafers in camo, but they come in a variety of colors. What I love best about my Rothy's is not just the comfort, it's that they're washable and durable. They hold up wash after wash after wash. And yes, you are correct. They're not just for women anymore. They now have men's sneakers and driving loafers. So listen, to help you welcome the fall season in style, Rothy's is doing something special. That's right. They gave us the chance to share this super rare opportunity with our listeners for a limited period of time. Right now, you can get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com. That's ROTHYS.com/velvet. Head to rothys.com/velvet to find your new favorite pair of shoes today. And for a limited time, you'll receive $20 off.
At all?
No, I mean, I believe it, you know, and I like to drink. Don't get me wrong. I've never thrown up from drinking. I have like I think I can't, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I get drunk.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
do you think it's gone too far where it's just like the same? Like, do you think New York needs a cast shakeup? Like,
Yes, I think that they do. I think they need more Leahs and more Tinsleys, more like fresh, young, fabulous. Like, you know, I mean, here's the thing. It works because is anybody married? Nobody's married, right?
no, just Elise. But I mean, she's
okay. Right. So, I mean, I feel like in that sense it works because they're all kind of like single and like on the prowl. You know, it would be weird if it was like that one token girl that's got like little kids, like that would be a bit awkward. Or maybe that girl would be the voice of reason. I don't know. But I mean, they're all older and they're single and it's like, it's sad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. I think personally, that's why I like watching Beverly Hills, because it's like, they're wild, they're crazy, they're successful, they can go out and get drunk, but you somehow respect them because they're like, they've got this like great package. You almost aspire to want to be them. Whereas the New York ladies, not so much, you know?
And I mean, Beverly Hills, they do keep it together. Like, you can kind of tell when Kyle's drunk or whoever, but they keep it together.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Yeah.
Do you know Dorinda in real life?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I haven't really kept in touch with her, but it's just because we haven't been like in the same spots or whatever. Yeah.
Do you speak? So like, I mean, do you speak to Luann or Sonia a lot?
No, Sonia and I had that weird, I'm sure you saw it, where there was this restaurant in the meat packing that we both separately got invited to go to. Cause you know, I do the influencer stuff. So like sometimes restaurants, you know how it works. Like restaurants will reach out and they'll be like, hey, this is a new menu. Like, you know, we'd like to invite you to like test the new menu and maybe do some social. Like that's what I do, you know?
Yeah.
So I went and ironically, Sonia was there as well, separately. And I went kind of early. Like I tend to go early because of the kids and I like to go early to take my pictures and have my space and whatever. And I heard her, like I heard Sonia. I like was with my friend and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Sonia Morgan. And I was a little bit like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, I looked over and she like had her whole gay like mafia. And it was just, I wasn't shading her. I wasn't anything. It was just like, I just personally was like, already had a few drinks and I was like at the end of my dinner and I was just kind of like a little bit, wasn't in the mood, just put it that way. And I hadn't seen her in a while and it might've been a bigger conversation. I just wasn't, you know, into it. So I just slipped out and then somebody caught wind of it and like wrote up this whole thing like that I'd like, you know, shaded her and all this stuff. It was just dumb.
When was this?
I think it was like, oh, you didn't? It was like last summer. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you know, maybe I guess if you really broke it down, maybe I did shade her because I didn't go over and say hi. But like, it was just one of those things. Like she was like drinking and she was with her crew. And I was like, I'm not going there, you know?
We all do that where you're just like, it's not even like I don't like you. I don't have the energy. This is like a 20-minute conversation. Yes. I have like 2 minutes in me and I just don't want to talk.
Totally. I'm like, I got to let my babysitter go. Like I'm going home.
Interesting. I did not see that.
Yeah. No, it was like the weirdest thing. Like so dumb.
Did she see you? Did like she think you were shading her? Or?
Yeah. Or it's like, I don't know if like the waiter had said something or like, I don't know. Somebody was just like, oh, you know, your friend Kristen is over there. And then I left. So she was, I don't know. And then it got back to like whoever press, like from somebody that was at the restaurant or the restaurant for all I know. I don't know.
Do you talk to Luann the most out of like the current cast?
Not really. I mean, I feel like, you know, Heather and then like a little bit of Carol and Josh is actually super friendly with Adam, her boyfriend, ex, whatever they are. They go like surfing together and stuff. And Adam
friends or they just kind of
no, they're friends, yeah. They go like Adam has that like that board, that foil board, and Josh and he like wake up early sometimes and like go out to the Rockaways and surf together.
Oh wow.
And he lives right behind us. Adam is like, he's like, our buildings pretty much like butt up against each other on different blocks.
Interesting.
Yeah. In the financial district. Yeah.
Were you shocked when like Adam and Carol broke up or?
No, I mean, are they broken up? I feel like they still hang out all the time, you know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They like hang out, right? They like hang out from time
to time. I think so. Yeah. No, I think that they're still like super friendly and stuff for sure. Yeah.
What about, did you know Jill before? Like,
Oh my God, I love Jill. Can we talk about how amazing Jill looks?
And she seems happy.
Oh my God, like so happy. Like her boyfriend's really sweet. I was at an event in Palm Beach. That was like my last trip in March.
I was supposed to be at that. I was going to be visiting friends down there, and then I was going to come, but it was like right, and then.
Yeah, it was like the cusp. Like, should we fly? Should we not? And I'm so happy I went because that was my last trip, Yeah. But she is so, so lovely, the sweetest. Like I don't know what she's been doing, but she looks amazing. Like, it's so awesome to see, somebody go through so much and kind of come out the other end and, come out strong. It's nice.
She seems happy.
Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah.
What about Bethenny? I saw Bethenny said something like, is this true? Like Bethenny was trying to get you to film last season of The Housewives?
Oh my God, people are so funny. So, our kids go to the same school.
Yeah.
So I had just been to like an event or like a work thing, and I was like totally dressed up and like 20 minutes early to pick up my daughter from school. And there's a coffee shop across the street that I always frequent. So like, I fly into the coffee shop and I'm like, hey, so-and-so behind the counter, like I'll have my usual whatever. And then I was like, it was literally like this. And there was Bethenny like putting creamer in a coffee. And then she's so funny, right? She was just in a good mood and she started filming me and she's just like, where are you going for school pickup? Cause I was like dolled up, like, like she was just like, you must have been, it was just really funny. And then, people take that stuff and run with it.
Oh, so that's where that came from?
Yeah. Yeah. Literally.
I literally read that. I remember reading that and I was like, and then I think they brought up Barbara that like you would have been better fit them, but like why not have you instead of Barbara? It was a whole article that someone wrote.
Yeah, that's another one, Barbara. Like Barbara has also, when I was shooting, she was always there with Luann. She was at every event. Like I genuinely like her too. I feel like they kind of gave her a bad rap, I think she's a lovely woman, super successful, but.
And now her and Luann don't speak.
They don't?
No. Remember how it ended last season and then remember at the reunion?
Oh, what a bummer.
Unless they speak that I don't know of. I mean, believe it or not everyone calls to run everything by me, but I don't think they speak.
Oh, that's such a shame, right? It's like a bummer when that happens, but they'll come around, I'm sure.
That's a bummer when it's like reality TV that kind of sends you in there.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like Jason Poppy at school picking up for him?
Mm-hmm. Like every other week or every other couple days, like whatever their custody is. Yeah. Like there's been so many times where I'm like, I remember there's been like times where I'm like, volunteering for the PTA and I'm like running the ticket booth and then like, I'm like taking money and I look up and it's him. And it's like, that like our kids have played together before because I've been on play dates with Bethenny like years ago with Bryn and my kids. And it's just like, like get over it, dude. Like just be nice. He's very like all the time. Knowing that like I was on the show and I know Beth, it's just dumb.
And he knows you were on the show.
I'm sure. I would imagine. Yeah.
And he never was like, hey.
It's just like, yeah, no. Yeah.
Just stoic.
Yeah. Yes. Like it's just a weird situation. I so feel for her with that. I can't even imagine.
I couldn't imagine.
No.
I ran into him once too, like Tribeca at Barnes & Noble. And I got the same type of just stoicness from him.
Yeah, like and like kind of creepy a little. I don't know. He's a little off, right? Maybe it's just because all the things that we've heard or read in the press or whatever.
Are you shocked that Bethenny left?
No, I'm not. I feel like, I don't know. I could see where, she's obviously got so many other things going on. And I mean, it's interesting how the dynamic changes with all the women, It's a little bit like, I don't know, like I can't even tell you what it is. I mean, maybe you can answer that question. What is it? But it's something.
Well, if you talk to Ramona or Luann, they say that like Bethenny was, like a nightmare and that everyone was afraid of her and she would come in and always, I mean, this is what they say, not me.
Yeah.
Like yeah. And just like how to have her way. And, it was the Bethenny show. And so according to them, it's a much more relaxed, like we can breathe now.
Mm-hmm. I do miss her just like, I'm not even talking about age. I'm just talking about personality. She's much younger, and that they need that. They need like one more girl at least, like I said, that's like the Tinsley Leah, that's like, she doesn't need to be 25, that's for sure. But like I felt like Bethenny definitely bridged the two kind of age gaps. She could roll with the OGs because she is one, but then she's like that new fresh blood of living downtown. Like, I don't know. I think they need to do some friends of. I think they need to keep the dynamic, but we don't need to follow their storyline anymore. I'm not naming names, you know who, a couple of them,
What, you think certain people that are
I think it's time to let new blood in. I think that a couple of the girls could 100% be friends of, and we don't need to know the storyline anymore because there's no new storyline. And it's been so many years that it's like nothing could ever be new again. So it's like, keep them in the mix, and they're great at the drama. They're great at telling things like it is, but let's get to know new women and new storylines,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think personally, after Vicky and Tamara being gone, I personally think, Tinsley's gone, basically. I don't think she's coming back.
Oh my God, really?
Well, because she moved to Chicago and she's engaged. I think Tinsley's on the show now, but I think it's pretty well. I don't think Tinsley's coming back. I think there's no chance of that. But I would think after Vicky and Tamara being gone, I personally think there's going to be a major shakeup. That's just me.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's time as well.
I know. I think the hard part is, though, I got to tell you, I think New York, moreover than any city, I just think it's really hard to find women. It's really hard to find women. It's really hard to find women that you can film in their apartments or homes. It's really hard for these women to sign off on the families. It's like, I don't know. It's so much harder. That's just such a peculiar city like that,
Why? Just because you think, like, why? Most people don't want to be a part of it. Their husband.
I think this is my 2 cents. I think a lot of people in Manhattan are genuinely, the women that they're pulling from are genuinely very wealthy. And if that's really the case, their husbands are not going to want their lives opened up, not for anything bad, just in general. Like, I've spoken to plenty of women who they've gotten cast, and they're just like, listen, because of my husband's job, he's a high-powered attorney, he's in finance, like, we cannot have our lives filmed, or you meet people who are like, you can own your building, you could be renting, but there's not a lot of New York City buildings that will let you film a TV show in your apartment, even if you own it.
Tons. I owned an apartment. Calvin Klein was the board president. This is a true story. And I sold the apartment. It was Frederick for $1 Million Listing. And Frederick was like, it was after the Hurricane Sandy. He was like, this is it. This is such a good story. Frederick swoops in, sells David's apartment. And Calvin Klein was like, there's no Bravo TV coming in to this building. And I was like, please. Like, I was like on hands and knees. And like, I want to be part of this. And Calvin was like, no, you're not filming here.
Yeah. I mean, with me, I almost didn't get the show solely because of our building. That was my only hang up. And we had to like go to the higher, like top and explain, because everybody thinks it's a movie set, which it's not. It could literally be one camera guy and one other person. And we kept it very, very tight, but then there's also like rules and regulations. Like, it's like if you got a sofa delivered in your building now, there's only certain days you could do it, certain hours. So it's a lot harder to film in New York.
It is. People don't. So you almost didn't get it because your building was like, we're not letting cameras.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I go through all of the hoops, all of the stuff, get to the final thing. Josh has decided, we decided as a family, like, we're going to do this. And then almost like you're in it. And then your building's like, yeah, no. And at that time, Heather, her building didn't sign off. And the network was just like, okay, like, this is the last time we can cast a girl without being able to be in her apartment because it's such a big part of the show. And I don't know if you remember, do you remember Aviva moved a few times? And do you remember? I think it was my first season, she moved into a new place, and it was because she couldn't film in her old one.
Are you kidding me?
And I know Brandi's done that before too. She had to. A lot of girls have to do that. Yeah.
It makes sense, like, if you want the job. I mean, the job doesn't pay really anything in the first year or the second year, a little bit. But eventually, it's real money. So I guess, I mean, I would do that too, personally.
Yeah. Especially if you're renting and you can, like, why not? For sure.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. So also speaking of girls, okay, so you don't have to say your choice, but who do you think would be out of Dorinda, Ramona, Sonia, and Luann? If we are going to do a major cast shakeup, who do you think would be the first one to go out of those four?
I hate to say it, but Ramona.
You think?
I do. I think like Dorinda is like still new enough to us that she's like spicy and fresh. And I don't know, Sonia's still, I think Sonia and Ramona are like on par together, but I don't know, like, and I feel bad saying it because it's like her show 100%, but I think she can still have the same role and just kind of like what didn't Vicky in her last season, like not really hold an orange or whatever, but or is it an orange or a, whatever.
He didn't hold an orange. Yeah.
And,
Which she says is one of her biggest mistakes. Like Vicky, because I've talked to Vicky, next time she's like, I would have just exited without the friend on. I see what you're saying.
I think like we can still love and enjoy Ramona just as much. She can still host things, she can still have people over, and she's always in the mix, but we're not following her day to day, you know? I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know. And even like Sonia too, it's like, I don't know, it's so funny, right? How Sonia like flip-flops. Like one season, she's like supermodel, fit, amazing, brains on point. And then the next season, you're like, you know, and then she like goes away over the summer and then she comes back like fit supermodel again. You're like, what's happening, Sonia? She's like, she goes like.
This is her not fit season.
I think so. I mean, you see, the camera is literally panning to her eating in every scene. It's like, it's so not a good look. I mean, it'd be what they're doing to her, not they're all eating, but you know what I'm saying.
And like, we have Ramona who called her fat.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
I mean, she, you know, I think a shakeup is coming though. I do. I mean, I think Tinsley is going to leave, and I think they're going to get rid of at least one other person.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk about this. How on earth are they going to move forward with filming? Because the season's obviously over, and they would technically be casting now. And they usually would start filming in August, I would think. I think that's how they've done it the last couple of years. How are they going to do that? Well,
New York, I mean, Orange County, Dallas, and New Jersey were on hold, but I think they're going to start filming again in like July-ish.
Wow.
Orange County and Dallas, I think, has just started filming again because like those places are open.
They're open. Yeah.
And I know some of the Jersey girls, I think it's starting in July.
Right. I feel like the Jersey girls too are like, they're all kind of related. So it's like, you know, they know each other so well. I'm sure they're all like, okay, we've been quarantining. You guys are good. We're good. You know, yeah.
Do you watch New Jersey too? Do you watch like all the Housewives or just Beverly?
No, I watch, well, Orange County when it's on, Beverly Hills, New York, and New Jersey. That's it. I'm not really, I mean, Cynthia is like a good friend. Josh has known Cynthia forever. So like sometimes I'll watch Atlanta, but for some reason I don't know. I don't ever really catch that one. It also depends on like when it's on and like what other shows are on, but normally they do 2 at a time, right? So,
yeah. Do you think Kelly Dodd is like, I mean, do you like the OC now, like without Vicky and Tamara, and like, or do you think Kelly has just, I mean, do you know, like, have you been following all this Corona stuff she's been saying?
No, I don't. So I just remember watching the reunion and that's where I left off. And then I heard that Tamara wasn't coming back, and I'm actually very upset about her not coming back. You know?
She was great, Tamara.
I know. So what's Kelly? I love Kelly. I love Kelly from a fashion standpoint. I'm just like, I think there's something amazing about these women that like, you know, they go through these horrific divorces, they come out the other end, and then they're just like, isn't it funny how like the Orange County women can just pick up men like fishing, and these New York City ladies can't find a man to save their life? Like, it must just be, what is it? It's just New York.
Yeah, I think it's New York. I think it's like, you know, it's that true like single women living in New York. It's not a stereotype. It's hard to settle down here.
Yeah. It's crazy though, right? Like Kelly's just like, she like whips her hair and she like hits 4 guys and has her pick. It's crazy.
She really does. She really does. She's just said stuff like a lot of just Corona stuff that she shouldn't be saying. Like at one point she said like Corona was necessary to thin the herd.
Oh my God.
Like a lot of stuff.
Wow. Oh yeah. She's got her tail between her legs with that one, huh?
Listen, there's been a lot going on with this Bravo stuff. Like, you know, Luann Lockin's no longer there. I mean, well, let me ask you another question. Other than Bethenny, who resigned, do you think there is any woman that has resigned? I asked Tamara and Vicky the same thing recently. Do you think there's been anyone that's resigned other than Bethenny?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Tamra.
Now, Tamara was, I mean, technically, I guess she resigned because they gave her a reduced role. And she said no.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone says they resigned. And you know, like, do you, you know, all these women that say they left, do you buy it with any of them? I don't know.
I mean, listen, I can't speak for any of them. I just feel like, I think we all kind of, it's like an underlying, you know, like there's just certain things that none of us talk about, you know? And I think that, I don't really think it needs to be talked about because I think everybody makes their decisions, you know, based on, because I didn't Bethenny come out and say nobody resigns. Is that what she said? She said something press.
Yeah, she said
exactly.
basically.
And it's like, of course she would say that, you know, just like, you know, people speculate about what all the girls make and all that stuff. It's like, listen, we all know that. I mean, you said yourself, like the first season is like, you know, you make, it's like a tiered thing, but nobody will ever really talk about it. Like, I know how much I made, but you know, who's to say that another girl that comes in negotiates less or more, you know? So I feel like there's all these like underlying, you know, things, or, you know, maybe it's like, you know, like with Tamara or whatever, it's like people were offered certain things and they were like, you know, I didn't want to go back, or I really had to think about things, or they made the decision, or, you know, there's so many different things, you know?
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah, for sure.
What was I going to say? Would you ever go back if you were asked?
You know, it's interesting. Everybody always asks that question. I'm sure you ask that question to everybody, but, you know, I would say never because I'm definitely a different person now, but I also feel like it's just nice to not be in the drama. Like I remember watching that pumpkin patch scene with Tinsley and like the Dorinda Tinsley arguments. Like, I don't know why. I'm just like, I remember being on the other side of Dorinda a few times and just remembering what that feels like. And like sitting on the couch with my glass of wine, watching Tinsley get pounded on by Dorinda. I was like, God, I've been there. And I don't miss that. I don't miss the nastiness on Twitter. Like, I feel like I'm just far enough removed where I have my little Instagram family that I love. You know, I got my Facebook thing going and I just started live tweeting again on the Thursday nights and doing my little recap. And I get like a little bit of Twitter hate. And it's like, it kind of brings it back. I think that's the hardest part for people to, it's just a bummer, you know? So
you get tons of hate when you were on the show. Like what'd you get hate for the most if you got it?
No, just the mean people hate dumb. Who are you? Who cares about you? You know, like you're this, you're that. You look like this, your voice is like that. You know, like just mean nastiness, you know, where it's like, whoa, you know, I get like if I'm voicing an opinion about another cast member and you don't agree, definitely voice it off about that. But like, you know, it's just dumb, like mean. So I don't miss that. Let me tell you, it would almost be like, what's that expression? Like going back into the lion's den or something, like careful. It would be hard to go into that, you know?
Is it hard for you to film like during it? Like I just sat down with Heather Dubrow and she was like, I basically cried every day for 5 years. Like, did you have like a hard time or you just kind of were like, that was work, let it roll off my back?
I think that I think I had a good group of people around me. Like I had this stylist, Kristen, who was like with me every day. We were like putting together outfits. Jacqueline, my makeup artist. I'm sure you've met Jacqueline before. I think we have pictures together, but she's amazing. And so I was with her every day. So it was like, I would go and do the stuff and then I would come home and it would be like, I'd have like my little like posse with me and they'd always like, you know, build me up or like, you know, we talk about things that were going on. I felt like I, you know, had this like great relationship with them. And then obviously great relationship with my husband. And he was always like, don't sweat it. And then I also had 2 little kids. So I feel like the difference maybe, not to say that Heather didn't because she's got a bunch of kids, but I feel like, I don't know, like I was in it in filming and like having a lunch or whatever. And then I'd go home and I'd like have to take care of my little kids. So my brain was like not in it. I think where it hits you is when it airs, because that's a whole different situation. You see how you're edited. You see how everyone else is edited. You see what they're saying about you in the talking heads. That's the hard part. And then see how people react on social media. You just get pounded from all these strangers and you're like, whoa, like I was super confident about what happened and you guys are making me think differently and that sucks.
Seriously, were you shocked at like how you were edited? You were like, okay, because it really is about the editing. It really like people don't like. I personally think Kyle is just getting like. I'm sure there's a lot. It's all real. I personally think that maybe Kyle has fatigue, like you said, but I think it's partly in the editing of like, you know what, like let's shake the show off. And here's someone that has never had a bad edit in like 10 years.
Yeah.
That's just what
Yeah. I also think she's kind of like, you know, there's that one girl that's always like the one token. Like, I feel like she's kind of like leading or carrying the show right now. Like she's like the one OG, she's organizing the trips. Like she's having people over. Like, I think it's a lot for her to handle too, you know? So she's probably just, you know, I think that's also why she's getting the bad rap, but
then you look at, no, I mean, I think you're right. And then like, but then you look at like a Ramona who just doesn't care. I mean, she's everyone's always pissed off at her.
I know. No, and yeah, she carries it differently. It's, you know, it's also different too, like I said, though, because Kyle has like anchor points. She's got a husband, she's got kids. So she's going to be much more sensitive about, how she's portrayed, and, you know, she's got to go home and cook dinner for a family of how many and take care of animals and all that stuff. Whereas like Ramona, I mean, did you see what happened recently with Ramona and me and, with the whole, like, that's how you're like, I got to tell you, like, I would never put that on social media. Trust me, I'm not offended. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but we're talking about bullying and all of that stuff. Like, why would you, like, I kept thinking to myself, like, you said, do I really care that she's saying that? Oh, who's that? A nobody? I don't care. It's not a big deal. And compared to the whole scheme of all of the housewives, fine. Like, I'm a nobody, like, great. And I was like, just kept thinking, like, if I'm a nobody and you're a somebody, I'd so much rather be a nobody. Let's be clear. Because I don't need your life, nor would I ever want it. But to like do that with her daughter, it's like, that's what you're teaching your daughter. Kyle would never teach her children something like that, nor would she say something like that and put it on social media. You can even be, if you're drunk at a bar, or if you're at a bar and you're being silly with friends and you do that, but with your daughter, come on.
Yeah.
I don't care how old your daughter is. It's not appropriate. It has nothing to do with me. It's just like that whole bullying. And then she's always the one to just retract and be like, oh, I'm sorry. And you're like, really? Like,
right. Like she said, well, you and Cindy Barshop had a funny response.
Yeah, I tried.
Just us. It's just the nobodies here, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess her daughter was playing like, which housewife are you from New York? And she got you and Cindy. Ramona's
yeah.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean,
when did you last see Ramona? Was it at the Hamptons, the thing I was at with you?
Yes. Oh my God. How crazy was that? That was crazy.
I mean, it became viral that Ramona went to take this picture and then pushed Giselle out of the picture and just basically said, we don't want you in the picture. She just wanted you and Flaviana, the model.
Yeah. Like, who does that?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, like, I mean, in a way, I think, is Ramona just an evil genius in that the sense that, like, she is able to do these things. Like, anyone else, it's like, she just, like, is she just an evil genius that she's built this persona, and for her it's okay, and for no one else it is? It's strange.
It is really strange, but it's sad though. And like, the thing is that, you know, because of people like her, all of the housewives get a bad rap because of the things that, like, those actions that she does, because we all get looped into the same thing, and people are like, oh, housewives. It's like they see these actions by like things that Ramona does or whatever. It's like, that's the part that sucks. I mean, even when I was on and I was, you know, trying to find I found a restaurant that I wanted to film at, and like, you know how many times, if there were 5 times I reached out to somebody to film, 3 out of the 5 times someone said, will Ramona be there? And if I said yes, we weren't allowed to film, or we've already had Ramona here before and we can't do that again because it was a mess. It was a nightmare. She was a pain. Like, it's just sad. And She gets away with it season after season, year after year.
Wow. And you saw like her and Dorinda just had like a pretty public feud on Instagram.
No, you got to fill me in on all this.
Because so I guess it was that episode where Dorinda was mad at Ramona. She thought like Ramona wasn't being sensitive enough. Like Dorinda was being like harsh on Tinsley, and then Ramona was just like, back down, Dorinda, you're being too harsh.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, ask your fans, ask restaurants, ask anyone that dealt with you at BravoCon, like ask wait staff, like you're telling me this?
Yeah.
So to your point.
Yeah. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm not the first one to say that. I mean, it's out there. It's crazy. Yeah.
Going back to that picture, do you think, because I've just thought of, I thought of this, I don't know why, but like, I mean, over and over, like, do you think she pushed Giselle out of the picture because she didn't know who she was? Or do you think she pushed Giselle out of the picture like, New York is up here in Potomac? You know, if you're a nobody, Kristen, in the housewives world, I think Ramona's saying like Potomac is like the evil stepchild of the house. Which do you think it is? Or she had no idea who she was?
Do you know what? I can't imagine that she didn't know who she was. Or you know what? I'm going to go with maybe she didn't. But that's where it's like, does that really matter? And I feel like you get the group shot. We all do that. Like, trust me, if you and I were on a red carpet together and we had a shot with 6 people, you would ask me, or I would ask you, be like, hey, for our social, like, David, let's get a shot together. But we would get the 25 group shots first. You and I would wait until it was appropriate, and then we would get a single. Or we'd get off the red carpet and we'd do a selfie. Like, or have somebody take our picture after, like, discreetly and, you know, like, classy. Like,
totally.
You know, she just doesn't, but it's crazy. Like, I'm not even going to get into it, but I did see something that she said this week about everything that's going on. I'm not saying anything more about it, but that was the mess as well. Like, she's got to get a PR team or something, because like, she's literally lost it.
She has said a lot of things that were not necessarily appropriate.
Yes.
This week for what's going on in the world. And do you think, to that point, do you think she would have, I mean, for nobody, you got to stay in the picture. Like, do you think if you weren't hosting, you were the host of the event, like, I mean, were you ever like, God, like, I should be so lucky? I mean, do you think she would have asked you to leave? That's what
I think obviously she knew she knows who I am. And I think because I was on New York, but like, it's so funny because I never thought of the whole Potomac aspect. I didn't even think of that. I mean, that could be it, but I don't know. Maybe she just didn't know, or I don't know. I never really thought of it that way.
Right. I mean, I'm like, does she not know this is Giselle, or is just Potomac, like, because she has said a lot of things in the past about like Jersey, like the Jersey girls, like, please, like, I have no time. She likes Melissa Gorga, but I don't think she has anything. You know, New York. I mean, I live in New York. I'm in New Jersey all the time. I bet you know, like that New York mentality of like, oh, it's Jersey. Ramona's publicly said these things. Yeah. So I mean, that's just where my mind went. But then that video went all over the place of like, because Ramona made a comment about like women supporting women, or.
Yeah, totally. And that was the whole event was about, by the way.
But that was the last time you saw her.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you have no interest in really running into her.
No, I think I saw her at an event, and Dorinda was with her. It was like for a shoe company, and I was just there, you know, as an influencer, and she came in with Ramona came in with Dorinda, and they were actually very sweet, and we got a picture. I remember it was over the winter, or maybe it was in the fall. It was definitely kind of colder out. Maybe it was in like November or something, but they were really sweet then, you know. She's always like very preoccupied, you know, like when she's filming, like you saw this last week, because she looks around the room, and like, so she's there with you, but she's never really there with you. But it was sweet. And Dorinda is so lovely, you know, and they had just filmed that morning and then both got invited to this event. So they came right off of filming. So, yeah.
I think because you were on New York, you're grandfathered into her.
Probably,
that she will take pictures with you. Would you do anything differently if you went back? Like what? Like do you regret anything from your time on the show? Like where you look back and you're like, oh, I wish I didn't. I mean, you didn't throw any, you know, glasses at anyone like Ramona. Yeah. Is that what you're most known for too? Like when people come up to you, is it like your tagline?
I mean, some people talk about the tagline. I think it's like everybody always asks about Ramona and the glass in the face, you know, for sure. But I don't think I would have done anything differently, because I get asked that a lot too. I just, you know, it's like, it's real. So it's like, you know, you're just like living and you're in the moment, and it's like these other like real reactions and how I would really be. And I'm not, you know, a nasty, mean person. So it wasn't really my personality to like, you know, like fire back at people. I feel like I did the best I could. And you also just like want to, you know, you keep your dignity, and you know that other people are going to be watching, family members, you know, it's like, this isn't like, I don't want to be known for being this like horrible person when I'm not, you know. You know, and would I change anything? Probably not. And if I was to go back to a situation like that, I definitely think I'm much stronger of a person, and I would feel more confident voicing my opinion, like in a calm way. It wouldn't be like a, rah! It would be more of just like, slow down, you're acting crazy. You know, like that's just, I mean, and I see it in my real life now when I have like conflict with somebody, whether it's like, you know, with the kids not picking up, or like, you know, you've got like a lifelong friend that says something and you're just like, I just did it the other day with a friend of mine. She was having like a little argument with her boyfriend. And I was just like, okay, you guys are both being really immature. I'm an outsider. I'm looking in. This is how it needs to go down. Like, and it was very matter of fact, whereas before I would have catered towards one side. And, you know, and then she came back to me. She's like, you know, you were right. It was a misunderstanding. I'm like, see, you know, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm more confident in, you know, I guess like who I am. I think being on a reality TV show really brings out your, like who you really are. Like it all kind of comes up and you're forced to kind of, yeah.
Especially housewives. Like it's given you life skills of knowing how to like handle arguments.
Oh, 100%. It's crazy. Yeah.
You know, sure. and you're loving this season. Like even without Bethenny, it's the same for you. It just,
yeah. I mean, so the whole Leah, I'm saying it right? Leah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh my goodness. Like she is so beautiful inside and out. I love how she like owns herself, owns her actions, owns all of her stuff. I'm just a little bit like with the whole drinking thing. Like, I don't know, like this last, like people keep saying like, is she an alcoholic? Is she not? Like, I don't know a lot about alcoholism. I just know like, okay, let's like look at Luann as an example. Like Luann went, you know, she kind of, you know, went away for a minute and kind of like reflected. Now she's doing yoga and she's not drinking, and maybe she's like going back a little bit to drinking, but like Leah's like a kind of a drunk that I've never really witnessed before. I guess maybe you have, but like when you're watching it being sober at home, it's kind of fascinating.
Was it like, you mean the whole Hurricane Leah in Newport? Was that like,
and at Ramona's house, like all I kept thinking from being on the show, like all I kept thinking was, oh my goodness, like, like you're going to watch this back and you're going to be like, oh shit. Because doesn't she say that she doesn't remember?
Yeah, I think that's what she said.
I mean, how do you, like, you just kind of feel bad for her. Cause you're like, you are so fun. You're a good time girl. Did you do anything super harmful? No. But like, did you not watch that tiki torch in the bush and go, holy shit, she's going to start a brush fire?
I was just like, oh wow, this is a really drunken moment.
I know, but like a little like crazy, obnoxious, like it was kind of nuts, right? And that's like the laughing and the crying at the dinner party in Newport, and it's just like, it, like even as a viewer, you were kind of like, whoa, like this is gone from like, oh my god, how silly, oh she's drunk, to like, I don't think I want to watch anymore.
Well, that's, I mean, not even just about her. That's what a lot of people are saying, just in general. Like, do you cringe even, like, you know, like to your point, Sonia threw up, then she has gourds on her ear. Dorinda does slur her words a lot. I mean, listen, again, no one likes vodka more than me. So I'm just, I'm not.
No, yeah. I mean, I guess like I'm more familiar with the slurring your words and like the Sonia being like silly drunk, but like Sonia is still, I feel like maybe because we're just used to her, like she's like the drunk that I'm used to. Like that would be like, those are like the drunks that like I would be, or like my friends would be, like in an appropriate situation. The Leah drunk is like, it's something I've never seen before. It's like these crazy personalities and like madness and like, jumping and running, and like it's just weird. And then like the crazy ass emotions, like Sonya's drunk and it's like, oh shit, she's drunk, but it's more like, I love you so much, I want to make out with you, like fun drunk. The other one is like destructive and like crazy.
It's a little, I mean, she's gotten backlash. I mean, like people love her, but there has been a lot of backlash online now after that episode.
I'm sure. And the whole thing too is like, it's her first season and they always give your first season like a decent edit. Like I think that's like rule of thumb. You know, they never want to paint the new girl out to being, so I would imagine there's a lot more that we haven't seen. Like that's the good edit.
Probably. I would think so. And yeah, I mean, to your point, I think so too. The first season, it's like, it's more just like you're here. And like I really don't think they want to get rid of someone after their first season. It's like, we have to do, let's do everything we can to keep you. And then they don't all the time, but they want to at least.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting how it plays out. And I didn't like how, I didn't really understand the whole sister not wanting her to come. Like that was just silly, you know? It's like, ugh, whatever, let her sister come.
That was Ramona just being like, I don't want to talk to a new person.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. And then like, I didn't like as a viewer too, it's like all this drama, the tortellini throw and like the madness. And then like, even as a viewer, like I didn't like watching that dinner at that restaurant. That was just like a waste of a moment for me. I don't want to see Sonia and Ramona flirt with young men that are engaged or married anymore. That's not a good look, right? And then like nobody sat down. It was just like, I don't know, like, what are you guys doing? Like, get together.
The real comic relief for me comes in Luann. Like, Luann at that dinner worrying about the flowers. Luann just has these one-off moments of like, girls, please behave. It's like, Luann, the train has left the station. Like, this is, Luann's like trying to bring everyone back to some class. And it's like,
she's like, does anyone want a shrimp?
Right. Like, it's just like, so I mean, to me, it's like, I wonder, like, has Luann done this long enough to know how funny she is? Or is she just, I mean, it doesn't matter.
I don't think it, I think yes. And I think also that's truly who she is. And she's just like, oh my God, I'm just like so happy that I'm not the one who's lost my shit, you know?
She's just like, these girls are crazy. I mean, you know, she does, it seems like she drinks a little now, Luann, but she's acting normal.
Yeah, I have such a crazy respect for Luann. I think out of all of the women, she is winning, you know? That's my new thing. She's winning.
I like that. I mean, I think she is, if the show, to your point, were to end, I mean, of course, Bethenny, but Luann has it somehow it's like she has a real career now, like that she can go on. I mean, I think that's the thing that like people who want to be on this show don't look big picture of like, if everyone has been fired or let go or whatever you want to call it, you know, I mean, I asked Vicky the same thing, like, you're the OG, but how could you think you were immune? Like, I wonder if like a Ramona or Sonia think that they are immune. I don't know how you could after what's happened over this many, everyone leaves.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because you can't do it forever. I mean, and why would you want to at a certain age? Like, that's the thing that gets me. It's crazy.
I mean, I think in part, you know, the money, the rumors, I mean, like in whatever, you know, like Ramona has got to be, I mean, I would think way up there.
Yeah. For
way
sure.
up there.
Yeah.
7 figures, like low or high 9. That's my, I think.
Oh, easily. Yeah, for sure.
So like, that's hard to turn down. Like, you know, you don't want to come back, but here it is. Here's another $975,000 to go get drunk.
Yeah.
Who's going to say no to that?
No, I mean, you're really. Yeah.
Do you like New York? Do you like watching as a viewer New York or Beverly Hills better?
I kind of like them for different reasons. I guess maybe New York because it's like, you know, New York, but Beverly Hills is a strong second, you know, because I also have lived in LA. And so I know the places they're going to, and I know some of the girls and, you know, it's beautiful. Yeah.
What do you think of like Erica Jane, Lisa Rinna, Dorit? Are you fans?
I love all of them. Like I think they're all like Lisa Rinna's amazing. Totally hung out with her before. She's the nicest woman. She's so sweet and genuine. So
Where
smart,
did you
so
meet her?
talented.
Was it
Through mutual friends in LA. We were actually like in Canada for a weekend too, for a charity event years ago with our husbands, which was really nice. And I mean, Erica Jane, I've never met her, but wow, she's so beautiful and talented, right? And like Dorit too. I think it's exciting because I love seeing her young family and her relationship with her husband and her home life. And she's like so stylish.
I was just gonna say, she's my vote. She's my vote for top style.
Yeah. They need 2 Dorits for New York. You know? They need like a Dorit and a Lisa Rinna for New York.
I just think that, call it what you want, but like, I think they are definitely trying to skew all the shows younger. Vicky and Tamara, they're not old, but they're like 52 and 58, and Bronwyn is like 40 something.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Bronwyn. She's great too. I liked her a lot. She was very spicy in like a great way.
You like her?
Yeah, it's nice when a woman could be spicy like that and really turn it up, but like be such a great mom, role model wife. Like that's impressive.
Well, this is why I think Brandi was a great housewife. Like Brandi just put it out there, says what she wants.
Yeah. No, I agree. Are you kidding? She's made for reality TV.
Other than the Denise drama, which I know you can't talk about yet, you'll come back. Like, does Brandi like being part of the franchise? Like, does she want to go back?
I don't know. I think she's so good at it, and I think she'll always be a part of it, But I know that obviously we all know she's been filming and stuff, but I think she's been like pretty close to Kyle lately. And so, yeah, I think she's always going to be a part of it,
I think so.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss before we wrap up? Do you feel like is there anything else we haven't covered?
I know. I don't know.
Do you watch any other shows on Bravo besides those?
No, I haven't. No, I just watch those. I've been watching old movies lately. Like old meaning like 70s, 80s kind of fun, Brat Pack. Like I've been doing that, which is fun.
Listen, it's all about the 80s. Molly Ringwald,
right?
I've met her before. She's, that's a good one.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh, such a good one. Yeah. I think
fangirling about her where people like, oh my God, that's Molly, or no, it's just.
I don't think so. Cause I think it's like New York and everybody's too cool for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she was kind of like under the radar, which was kind of neat. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, that there's not rumors, but there's talk that like New York should cast like a Lisa Rinna, like someone famous.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just harder to find. I think there's more of them in LA, and anybody who's genuinely successful doesn't really want to go on the show.
Right. Like, and you have to get one of these, like Molly Ringwald lives in New York. I don't think she's going to become a housewife.
No, because if you think about it, all the Beverly Hills ladies are connected somehow. You know what I mean? Like they're all super successful. They've all acted before. So they're all in the same boat. I feel like that Lisa Rinna type in New York kind of doesn't really exist. Or they wouldn't be rolling with that group is the issue.
Right. Like you have to think of famous people that live in New York.
Yeah. It's a whole nother show.
That's a whole other show. And I'm also loving Garcelle. I actually like Garcelle on Beverly Hills. A lot of people don't like her.
Beautiful. Her talking head with that yellow dress, she's stunning.
She's literally gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
She's gorgeous. How does her husband know Cynthia Bailey? She's gorgeous too.
From the Bad Boy days when Josh worked at Bad Boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think like Josh knew somebody that Cynthia dated and they all hung out and stuff. Yeah.
You need to watch Atlanta. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I will. I know there's a lot of change up there. Like everybody's had babies and like, yeah.
I don't know. This season, it got really good again. So.
Oh, good. I'll watch it then.
You were going to watch anything, but I love that you're watching New York. You need to come back after all the Brandi stuff and we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not going anywhere except on that 2-week road trip, but catch me on the other end.
We'll catch you on the other end of the road trip. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll be between New York and the Hamptons probably. I've never not traveled this long in my entire life.
I know, all of us. I know.
I'm actually supposed to be out in like LA in the OC like in July, which it could happen.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That'd be good. Well, let me know.
I will if you're out there still.
Yeah, totally.
So I really appreciate you chatting. Hopefully you had fun.
Yes, I had a blast.
You're amazing. When this is all over and you end up back in New York, we will have to go out for drinks. I'm downtown. Chelsea.
Yes, 100%. Or let me know if you're out in LA because we could do that too. We'll go to Malibu.
I really think I'm going to be out there if you're out there at the same time. I'll like DM.
No, I would love it. Honestly, like we'll go to Malibu and have drinks.
Love it.
Yay.
My drink. So
right.
Everyone, Kristen Taekman from Real Housewives of New York. Love you, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye. Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Behind the Velvet Rope. Because without you listeners, I would just be a crazy person with voices in my head. And if you like what you hear, subscribe on Apple Podcasts under Behind the Velvet Rope. And when you're done subscribing, feel free to leave a 5-star write-up review because the write-up reviews actually count. We read each and every one of them. We post the best ones, and the reviews really help our shows keep going. And we really appreciate everything you guys say, especially the positive ones. And if you want to find us online, we're at Behind Velvet Rope on Instagram. We are at davidyontef on Instagram. We're Behind the Velvet Rope on Apple Podcasts. Or head on over to Patreon because you know what? There are just some things we can't talk about here. So for our bonus episodes, go to Patreon and type in Behind the Velvet Rope. And if you still aren't sick of me and you want more David, go to Cameo and book me on Cameo. And you can ask me anything there. I'll answer whatever you want. And I have a bargain basement price of $10. Thank you guys. See you soon.